The Nigerian Identity Management Commission, NIMC, has said the agency has licensed telecommunications companies to register applicants who do not have the NIN, the National Identity Numbers. Now, this measure is to help reduce the large crowds that have besieged the NIMC offices across the country for registration with the risk of contracting the COVID-19 virus. Now, the disclosure, or rather the coronavirus and the COVID-19 disease, the disclosure was made by the Director General of the NIMC, Aliyu Aziz, while responding to an inquiry with respect to measures taken by the agency to address the complaints made by citizens and crowds at the Commission's offices. Lots to talk about. And of course, joining us as usual to discuss these stories is Arise business analyst Chika Mbonu. Chika, you're very welcome.
How are you today?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. Beginning with the tax figures, what's your take on these numbers that came in? Company income tax and VAT and so on.
I mean, you saw the result, and even though combined with the VAT and the company income tax, there was an increase. But if you dissect, deep further, you will find that VAT increased while company income tax, decreased over the period. Not surprising though. Let's look at company income tax. It decreased. Do you recall that this is basically based on profit?
Yes.
Charge on profit, even though there are allowances for, even when a company is making loss, that for issue of minimum tax. You also recall that a lot of the analysis we're doing here for some of the corporates, what we have seen is some of them either made losses,
yes,
or the profits actually substantially fell.
Yes. So
it's not surprising that because of the COVID period and other challenges we have in the country, the company income tax, actually fell. On the other hand, VAT,
yes, VAT,
yes, consumption. Two things. Recall the rate before was 5%.
Yes.
So it was moved to 7.5%. So the continuous implementation of the new rate has also helped in the growth in the VAT revenues. The other thing that happened also is that, remember, VAT is on prices, on consumption.
Yes.
And then inflation is at what rate? Look at inflation.
15.75.
So, food inflation is almost at 20%.
Right.
So you can say immediately that if you use last year as a base, so you find that prices have moved by at least 20%. So that means also the VAT revenue, the VAT base would have increased.
Excellent.
In addition to the percentage.
Yes.
So the combination of the two, is what led to what we have the marginal increase in that. So while VAT increased, company income tax, reduced, reflecting the environment that we are in.
Chika, how, because we talk a lot about government revenues, you've talked a lot about it on the show. If you're the government and you're looking at these numbers now, how do you try and increase these numbers in this fiscal year 2021 that we're in?
Remember how some time ago I said I borrowed the definition.
Yes.
Somebody defined tax as the government share, the share of government profit in a company's business, in enabling the company, making life easier for the company.
Yes.
So for government, making life easier for the company, their profit expenses reduce, revenues increase because of government efforts. Government has the right to tax that company. But so for me, therefore, it has to be that the government will continue to give enabling environment to corporates. Look at the ports. Look at the value, the supply chain.
Right. Most
supply chain of companies have actually distorted. It takes months now to bring in, when your containers land, to bring them to your factory. You've had and then the prices have actually quadrupled in most cases.
Right, the cost from China to Nigeria,
and then it's almost less than moving from the port to Lagos mainland factories. Yeah. All those costs go to what? Reducing the profit of the companies. And reduce profits means what? Reduce
taxes.
That. So with the government sorting out the limiting factors to corporates from in the environment, the government revenues will also increase. Now, the other thing that happens there is especially the VAT, is expanding the tax net. The tax net. Now, Nigerian businesses, depending on where you read, says the informal sector is about up to 40%. So what they capture, the tax net, maybe less than 50%. So the issue is, how do we bring more people into the tax net?
Right.
How do we encourage more people to come into the tax net? Now, with the implementation of things like the BVN, with the TIN numbers, with this NIN the government is doing now, all those things will help also in bringing people into the tax net.
Right.
But still, put it this way, the number one tool to encouraging people to pay tax is good governance.
Right.
Is the fact that the roads are good. They have water to drink. Their health systems work. and the government sees, the citizens see that the money they're paying as tax is being used for their welfare, they'll be encouraged to pay that, not dodging the taxes.
Right.
So it all sums into the fact that do we have good governance and the ease of doing business for the corporates.
Fantastic stuff, Chika. You mentioned the ports. So speaking of the ports and exports, what do you make of what the Federal Executive Council signed yesterday to improve the acceptance of Nigerian exports?
You need to bundle that with the other news that came out now with CBN, with the Central Bank of Nigeria having appointed, I think, pre-shipment agencies.
Yes, to inspect ports. Right.
You see, I'm happy because also you'll see that from the MPC meeting, the Central Bank governor is harping on the importance of export, all tied into our objective to expand our revenues away from oil. Now, and therefore, we must do things to make sure that we encourage exports. One of the limited things we have been seeing is the fact that sometimes Nigerian exports go abroad and are rejected at the points of arrival abroad because of low quality.
Right.
Because of low quality. So with the pre-inspection agents, with this quality initiatives by the Federal Executive Council, it means therefore that any export that will leave Nigeria must meet international standards and they must be rightly priced. The work of the pre-shipment agents is to ensure that with the right quality, the right quantity, and the right pricing, so to avoid things like other invoicing or invoicing of the Nigerian exports, and make sure at the end of the day also that the companies who are exporting feed their NXP forms.
Right.
And so those exports will be tagged and enable the exporters repatriate their export proceeds back to Nigeria. So you can see how everything
comes together. Thank you for mentioning. I was going to ask you, because there's a January 31st deadline for exporters to repatriate their proceeds. If not, they will be cut off from banking services. So with these appointees that the CBN has made to inspect export, does that tie together?
The big picture is the fact that we are focusing, the country as a whole is focusing on exports revenues to make sure that we diversify revenues from oil and reduce the leakages that arise from that, and so that the exporters, the laws are meant to be obeyed.
Right.
And so, if you profit from from Nigerian economy, you must repatriate the export proceeds and avoid the issue of diversion of the proceeds to other economies.
Chika, about a minute to go. I want to get your thoughts on the NIMC finally incorporating telcos.
It's amazing. I used to shudder when I look at the Presidential Committee on COVID addressing press conferences in Abuja, and there we see pictures on how we limit COVID, expansion in Nigeria and stuff like that. And yet, the same government was forcing people to see crowds every day going to the NIM offices. Yes. And I just used to show that is it the left hand is not knowing what the right hand is doing.
Right.
So this is what I've done now is commendable. Create more centers for the NIM registration, so that it makes life easier for people and then reduce the issue of COVID for everybody.
Arise business analyst Chika Mbono, thank you so much for taking us through those headlines, Chika. I appreciate you coming in.